All of a sudden, he gets hit with a $260 million lawsuit from Derek Dixon, who met Tyler Perry in 2019 as an employee of an event company.
50 Cent Jackson, AKA Captain Don't F With It. He has a brand new documentary. What's it called? The Reckoning of some. Anyway, it's this documentary about Diddy. Just leave that man alone. That man deserves a whole lot of leave alone. That's what my grandfather told me. Certain mother deserve a whole lot of leave alone.
I want to talk about is Tyler Perry. Do you watch the Tyler Perry movies?
I don't watch Tyler Perry movies, and
now can you tell me why? I want to know why you don't watch Tyler Perry. I want to hear your opinion on Tyler Perry.
So this is Mega of Mike's Unleashed, and I'm just saying this is why I don't watch Tyler Perry movies. I think Tyler Perry movies are all very stereotypical when it comes to black people. He enhances the sort of the negative aspect of blacks. I do see him with some shows. I hear about it. I wasn't a fan of, the Madea character. I didn't see what all the hoopla and everything, all that the character was about, which was too funny. It didn't click to me. But when I've seen some of her, not just her, but when I see Tyler Perry shows, they're just very stereotypical. And I'm just like, I'm out of that.
In Hollywood, the most powerful bonds are never announced. They don't show up in press releases or red carpet photos. They reveal themselves slowly, through patterns, through timing, through the specific moments when two people choose to say the same uncomfortable truth out loud. That is exactly what connects Eddie Griffin and Katt Williams. Not a friendship tour, not a co-signed interview, a pattern. Both men have spent the better part of their careers pointing at the same walls, the same doors, and the same hands controlling who gets to walk through them. So when Griffin publicly called on Katt Williams to join a no-dress-wearing tour, most people wrote it off as a comedian doing what comedians do, stirring the pot for laughs. But look closer. Place that moment alongside their overlapping criticisms of certain power players in Black Hollywood, the quiet but persistent conversations about gatekeeping, and the growing spotlight on social circles tied to names like Diddy. And something larger starts to take shape. This isn't about a single role, a single rumor, or a single controversy. It's about a question that keeps surfacing at the center of Black entertainment. What are artists being asked to trade away to stay in the game? And what happens to the ones who refuse to pay? Griffin and Williams may never share a stage to lay it all out, but their words have been pointing in the same direction for years. Some doors in this industry open easily, others come with conditions, and some people decide, very deliberately, that the cost isn't worth it. And now, Griffin is speaking on Katt Williams breaking the internet, and what he said is turning heads.
Up, nigga called him Mr. Potato Head. I said, no, Katt. Then he said, Cedric looked like a walrus, nigga. Said, I'm like, no, nigga, he got Ricky Smiley so good. Ricky Smiley got on the internet making tea and started crying and disappeared. Ain't nobody seen you since, nigga. He ain't did no more posts. He just disappeared. I called Katt on the phone and said, nigga, you better be on the lookout for Smiley. That nigga wants to come smiling. Clive was the one to get you. He's smiling, nigga. And I said he might show up with a dress on. Me and Katt, the last two that ain't worn a dress, nigga. I called that nigga. I said, nigga, let's do the non-wearing a dress tour. That shit'll be hot like a motherfucker. And Club Shay Shay. Yeah, Shay Shay. Gay. I don't give a that nigga gay, nigga. That nigga sitting there with them tight pants on, with his balls and dick up in Katt's face. And the Katt kept looking the other way. You can tell how that nigga drink, nigga, he gay, nigga. He kept on saying, now, Katt. That's nigga. That motherfucker had on them licks. Don't no nigga drink like that. Now, Katt.
When Eddie Griffin floated the idea of a no-dress swearing tour, he wasn't recycling an old argument about comedy styles. He was making a statement, one that's been building in the background of Black Hollywood for a long time. The pattern he was pointing at is hard to ignore once you see it. For decades, cross-dressing characters have functioned almost like a rite of passage for Black male comedians in mainstream Hollywood. Tyler Perry's Madea franchise is the most visible version of this formula, wildly successful, undeniably influential, and, to some, deeply telling about what the industry rewards. But Griffin and Katt Williams have both been careful to say their problem isn't with comedy. It's with what they believe the image signals beneath the surface. In their reading, these roles carry an unspoken script about how Black masculinity is permitted or expected to show up on screen. Griffin has gone further, describing Perry not just as a filmmaker, but as a power broker, someone who doesn't just make movies, someone who controls access. Williams has made similar observations, suggesting that turning down certain opportunities doesn't just cost you one role. It quietly rearranges what gets offered to you next, and that's the part that matters. Neither man is attacking the actors who took those roles. Their position is simpler than that. They chose a different path. The tour concept was Griffin putting that choice on a billboard, a public declaration that some comedians built careers without that particular trade-off. When fans caught on, the conversation stopped being about comedy altogether. It became about something heavier. Why does refusing a certain type of role feel like a political act? Why does independence in this industry read as a threat? Those questions are what actually links Griffin and Williams, not a tour announcement, not a press release. A shared refusal to pretend those questions don't exist.
Tyler Perry, how you feel about the allegations he being accused of?
We got to deal with Tyler. We got to deal with Tyler. When you talk about the jealousy that the music industry has for Black men, it's insane, bro. It's insane. Tyler Perry goes to the BET Awards. He gives a speech, and he's an excellent orator, by the way. I'm an orator. I study oratory. Tyler Perry could have been a pastor or community activist. He's a very good speaker, very good public speaker. He says that I've made more millionaires than every other studio in this city combined. That's what he said. And don't you know, I don't know if it was the next day, but it was definitely the same week. All of a sudden, he gets hit with a $260 million lawsuit from Derek Dixon, who met Tyler Perry in 2019 as an employee of an event company. So he was working at one of the events that Tyler Perry contracted this event company to come to and host. He met Tyler Perry there. Tyler Perry invited him to audition for an upcoming show called Ruthless. Later on, Tyler Perry tells him, allegedly, according to Derek Dixon's attorney, Tyler Perry told him, I can change your life. Stick with me, I could change your whole life. He then invites him to audition for a role on The Oval, Tyler Perry series The Oval. Derek Dixon stars in 85 episodes of The Oval between 2020 or 2021 until 2024, 2025. In January of 2020, Art, right before COVID, Tyler Perry allegedly texts Derek Dixon and says, among other things, I can't remember the last time I had really good sex. Now, as a heterosexual male, if another man sends me a text telling me he can't remember the last time he had good sex, I already know that that ain't somebody I need to be around alone, because he clearly got the wrong idea about me. In fact, I'm gonna have to let him know. In the future, fam, I don't need to know about your sex.
Nobody serious disputes what Tyler Perry built. He came from nothing, created his own lane, and became one of the most powerful independent forces in the history of Black entertainment. That part isn't up for debate. But power doesn't stay neutral. And according to both Griffin and Williams, at a certain level, influence starts to function less like success and more like gravity, pulling everything around it into orbit, whether it wants to be there or not. Griffin has been blunt about how he sees Perry's world operating: tightly managed, loyalty dependent, a structure where the people inside it know exactly what's expected of them. Williams went a step further, claiming Perry once quietly signaled to others to keep their distance after spotting Williams in the wrong company. Now, can those specific claims be verified? Maybe not cleanly, but that's almost not the point. What's harder to dismiss is how common these kinds of stories are. Hollywood has always run on proximity: who you're seen with, who you defend, who you quietly stop defending. You don't need a public falling out for a career to start stalling. You just need the right people to stop returning calls. Invitations dry up. Projects that seemed close suddenly aren't. No announcement, no confrontation, just silence. That's the machine Griffin and Williams are describing. And it's why their words land with so many people who've never been famous, because it reflects something they've felt in their own workplaces, their own industries, their own circles. Neither of them frames Perry as a cartoon villain. Their critique is more precise than that. He represents something systemic, a model where a small number of gatekeepers set the terms, where staying quiet is quietly rewarded, and where speaking freely gets quietly filed away as a problem. Griffin and Williams keep speaking freely anyway, even when it costs them.
Tyler Perry pulled his underwear down, Art. Help me out. Help me out. If this man allegedly pulled your underwear down and grabbed your ass cheeks, why are you not going to a lawyer or going to the police? This man is a billionaire. He's a billionaire. Why are you hanging around? He says Tyler Perry coerced him, Art. Coerced him into accepting the sexual exploitation because Tyler Perry promised him his own show. Tyler Perry promised him career advancement. He allegedly, Tyler Perry was going to provide him with career advancement opportunities. So he says he felt like he had to endure this sexual harassment so it wouldn't mess up his options. As far as I'm concerned, that means you volunteered for it. You volunteered for it. You were willing to accept it because you thought you would get something out of it. Then he says, Art, around June of 2024, Derek Dixon comes to his senses and he decides that Tyler Perry has been lying to me this entire 4.5-year relationship. He's been lying. From 2020 to June of 2021, that's 4.5. He's been lying. So he says once he came to his realization that he'd been lying, he decided to stop showing up for work. He said Tyler Perry told him he had to take an unpaid medical leave. That's when he got with his lawyer, and that's when he decided to sue. Here's where I'm at. Same mistake as Smokey, same mistake as Shannon. Tyler Perry wasn't taking care of it. Allegedly, Art, because Tyler Perry has not admitted to being bisexual. He has not admitted to any of these crimes. So I'm saying allegedly. If what this man is saying is true, Tyler Perry made the same mistake as Smokey Robinson, Shannon Sharpe, and so many other black men dating non-black people. You didn't take care of him. From what I read, Art, he was being paid $10,000 an episode. And then when he got upset with Tyler Perry, allegedly, he went up to $15,000 an episode or maybe $25,000 an episode. However that go, don't quote me. But initially, he was only getting about 10 grand. Here we go again, Art. Smokey Robinson. If you want these women to be your girl toys, Tyler Perry, allegedly, if you want Derek Dixon to be your boy toy, $10,000 an episode for a billionaire is not gonna cut it.
When Diddy's name comes up in these conversations, it's never thrown in casually. It's not gossip filler. The name functions more like a symbol, shorthand for a specific kind of world. Exclusive rooms, private access, the kind of protection that only flows in one direction and only to people who've earned it the right way. Both Griffin and Williams have circled this territory carefully. What they describe isn't a single scandal, it's an atmosphere. Spaces where being present means something, where staying quiet means something more, where compliance isn't written into any contract, but everyone in the room understands what's expected anyway. Williams has talked about how simply being seen in certain places can shift how people treat you afterward. Griffin has pointed to careers that accelerated almost overnight once someone attached themselves to the right powerful figure. Put those observations side by side and a picture forms, not of a conspiracy with secret handshakes and coordinated plans, but of something far more ordinary and far more suffocating. A system that rewards whoever makes it easiest to keep running. No grand sacrifice required, just the slow, quiet kind. Your voice gradually, your boundaries incrementally, your willingness to question what you're watching eventually gone. Most people don't even notice it happening until it's already done. Fans tend to dramatize this into something cinematic, secret meetings, organized plots, shadowy figures pulling strings. The reality Griffin and Williams are pointing at is less theatrical and more mundane. Hollywood doesn't need a conspiracy to protect itself. It just needs enough people willing to look the other way. Griffin and Williams present themselves as men who decided not to. They don't claim to have hard evidence for everything they've said. What they offer instead is something the industry is arguably more afraid of: lived experience, described out loud by people who were actually in the room. In a business built entirely on controlled image, that kind of testimony can be more disruptive than any document. There's one piece of this story that doesn't get nearly enough attention. The BET comedy series Comedy Get Down looks like a straightforward project on the surface, comedians doing what comedians do, backstage footage, laughs, behind-the-scenes access. But for Griffin and Williams, it was something else entirely. It put outspoken men in the same space. Men who had each, at different points, found themselves pushed toward the margins of an industry that prefers its dissenters isolated. Eddie Griffin, Katt Williams, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, George Lopez. These weren't just names on a call sheet. They were people who understood, without having to explain it, exactly what the other had been through. They didn't need to hold a press conference about it. They didn't need to align publicly on every talking point. Just occupying the same room, working together, turning their experiences into something funny, that was enough. Because Hollywood has a specific playbook for people who speak too freely. Label them difficult. Question their stability. Frame their resistance as self-destruction. Comedy Get Down quietly disrupted that framing by showing these men as exactly what they are: professionals, sharp minds, and long-term survivors of the same machine that tried to sideline them. The bond that formed wasn't built on strategy. It was built on recognition. Each man could look at the others and see someone who understood the cost of the choices they'd made, on screen and off. That's why fans feel the connection between Griffin and Williams even without any official statement confirming it, because some alliances don't need to be announced. They just need to be survived.
50 Cent Jackson, a.k.a. Captain Don't F With Him. He has a brand new documentary, what's it called? The Reckoning of some. Anyway, it's this documentary about Diddy. Just leave that man alone. That man deserves a whole lot of leave alone. That's what my grandpa told me. Sir, deserve a whole lot of leave alone. And top of that list is 50 Cent. Leave that mother alone, because he gonna come for you. He gonna come for you. The poor diggler. I've never seen him as happy as he is in jail. He just looks quite elated. He looks like he never wants to get out. Every picture of this mother is cheesing from ear to ear. Did y'all notice that 50 had footage of mother Diddy in a hotel room talking about, we're losing.
Dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. We're losing.
How the did he get footage inside this mother? I'm telling you, don't with him. He got moles, he got CIA agents, he got 50 agents. This 50 is he's MI6. God damn it, this motherfucker double O Negro. I swear to God, boy, you better leave that motherfucker. You didn't know this motherfucker had a camera on filming your ass damn near crying. We're losing. Oh my God, we're losing. and they got unlimited supply at Camp Dix. He was more depressed outside than he is on the inside. He thought it was gonna be a bad deal for him. Now he said,
"This is what I always wanted."
The idea of Griffin and Williams as a united front didn't come from a manager or a publicist. It came from the audience. Fans built this narrative themselves, stitching together separate interviews, clipping overlapping moments, running reaction videos, and commentary threads until two parallel stories started looking like one. Social media did what the industry wouldn't. It connected the dots. Critics look at that and call it exaggeration, overthinking, pattern seeking from people with too much time and not enough context. But that reaction misses the actual signal. What the fan-driven storytelling reveals isn't delusion, it's hunger. A genuine, widespread appetite for honesty that the official channels stopped feeding a long time ago. People aren't inventing connections out of nothing. They're responding to real overlap. Griffin speaks about power and who controls access to it. Williams speaks about punishment and what exclusion actually looks like from the inside. Those aren't two different conversations. That's the same conversation, just told from different angles, by two men who lived different versions of the same experience.
That this is what Tyler Perry does to get his lovers. He claimed that there's other men who have worked for Tyler Perry Studios who have been fired because they did not consent fully to Tyler Perry's sexual requests and or constant overbearing harassment. So he says Tyler Perry will put you in shows, write you in, lavish you with all kind of stuff, make you real comfortable with a very firm understanding that you can lose it all if you don't do what I want you to do. So the lawyer claims there's other men who have a similar story to Derek Dixon. He even mentions Cosby, Carter, Combs, Weinstein, and Spacey in the lawsuit. So the lawyer is trying to draw a parallel from Tyler Perry to Bill Cosby, Sean Combs, R. Kelly, Weinstein, and Spacey. He mentions them in the lawsuit. And he says Tyler Perry is using his status and his power to force young, struggling actors into unwanted sexual relationships. I believe he led Tyler Perry on hoping he would get a show. I believe Tyler Perry was never interested in giving him a show. I think he found out Tyler Perry was playing games, and because he's white and still a racist, and Tyler Perry is still black, although a billionaire, and he decided to show Tyler Perry who's really in charge. And this is why I say, Art, it don't matter how much money you have. It don't matter how much power you have. Whenever you're dealing with a white woman or a white man, they still have more power than you. Tyler Perry's a billionaire. Derek Dixon might have been struggling, but guess what, Art? Derek Dixon has the full power of the American criminal justice system behind him. He got the full power of American civil court behind him. He got the full power of American media behind him. He got the full power of American society behind him. Tyler Perry's billions will be neutralized by Derek Dixon's white privilege. They were playing each other. He was stringing Tyler Perry along long enough to get his show. Tyler Perry was stringing him along long enough to get some booty, allegedly. And it just so happens that Tyler Perry realized he ain't gonna get no booty, right? And then Derek Dixon realized, I'm not gonna get no show. So Tyler Perry expected him to walk away, Art. He thinking he just gonna walk away. Why would he just walk away when you a billionaire? He gonna embarrass you and he gonna exploit you, because at the end of the day, you ain't nothing but a nigga to him, and you supposed to know your place even as a billionaire. When a white person throws a temper tantrum at a black person, you better get ready. That's why it does not benefit us to date outside of our race, Art, because you take too many hits. Look at Smokey. Look at Shannon. And now Tyler Perry.
The overlap is too consistent to ignore. Tyler Perry's name surfaces in both conversations. The world surrounding Diddy appears in the background of both narratives. No coordination required. The themes find each other anyway. And the reason fans amplify it so loudly isn't because they're chasing celebrity drama. It's because they recognize the shape of it from their own lives. Jobs that punish you for asking the wrong question. Environments where speaking up gets quietly reframed as being difficult. Success that arrives pre-attached to conditions nobody told you about up front. Griffin and Williams didn't invent that experience. They just had the platform and the nerve to describe it out loud. That's what made them symbols. Not because they positioned themselves as heroes, but because the consequences showed up and they kept talking anyway. That's why the team-up narrative doesn't need documentation to survive. The audience isn't asking whether Griffin and Williams planned any of this together. They're asking whether what these men are saying feels true. And for a significant number of people watching from the outside, people who have lived quieter versions of the same story, the answer is yes. Their connection may never look like a joint press conference or a co-signed expose. It lives in something less dramatic and more durable. Shared warnings, shared costs, a shared refusal to revise their own memory of what they saw and what they walked away from. Perry represents the structured power they've spent years critiquing. Diddy represents the social influence and the unspoken expectations they've questioned. And threading through all of it is a single idea: sacrifice. Not the grand, cinematic kind. The slow kind. Silence as sacrifice. Compromise as sacrifice. Shrinking yourself just enough, for just long enough, until staying in the room stops costing you anything because there's nothing left to take. Griffin and Williams chose differently. It cost them momentum. It cost them access. It may have cost them rooms they'll never get back into, but their voices are still here. And in an industry where the most reliable currency is the control of narrative, where image is managed, stories are shaped, and the loudest rooms belong to the most powerful people, simply persisting becomes its own kind of resistance. So here's the question worth sitting with. If speaking freely costs you protection, access, and opportunity in Hollywood, how many of the people at the top got there on talent alone? And how many got there because they learned, early and well, that silence was the smarter investment? Think about that. Comment down your thoughts. If this video made you think, hit subscribe and like the video so you don't miss on what's coming next.